Hey,
Yo.
welcome back to the Miss You, That's All podcast. I am your co host, Kayla,
And I'm your co-host, Ashley.
and this week we are going to be talking about things we did as teenagers that we would never do now.
I just want to say I'm glad we made it out of our teenage years together.
I'm glad we made it out without getting in trouble by the police
Yes.
or anything like super traumatic happening.
Yeah.
Um, yeah, because we made some interesting choices sometimes.
Yes. Yes. I'm grateful we made it out.
Yeah. And that we make better decisions now.
Oh, yes. Yes, yes. So why were we, like, one of the guys that I dated, the first time I ever met him, he came and picked me up from my house and we went and rode back roads. And like looking back, I'm like, I didn't know him. And he knew where I told him where I lived. He came and got me, and then we drove off into the woods. Like I basically like allowed myself to be kidnapped.
Yeah. Um I don't I mean, I guess it's where we're from cuz like that sounds weird to think about, but like given where we grew up, that was like a very common thing. You kind of just assume that people weren't serial killers, which the amount of like murder mystery type stuff that we listen to, IDTV kind of stuff, like looking back, that like is super sketchy, but I guess we weren't worried about it.
But like, so looking back, one thing, and maybe it's just having like an adult head on my shoulders. One thing I wouldn't do now that I did then was like allow myself to settle for less, like with dudes. Like,
Oh,
if a
yeah.
dude gave me a lick of attention, I was like, sure, why not? What else do we have to do around here? Like,
Yeah.
that is so terrible. So terrible.
Yeah.
And
And
embarrassing.
I think it's equally embarrassing to the extent that we put these people on like a pedestal, or we were like, they are like top notch, like high quality. We just thought they were something. And I'm like looking back and I'm like, Kayla, you had seven choices. Seven.
Oh, God, yes.
Like there's an entire universe, and you think that these seven people are the cream of the crop somehow. Probably not. Probably not.
One thing that I know, because we've talked about this before, but one thing I know the both of us wouldn't do now that we did then was like go after each other's leftovers.
Yeah. You just that was
It were
like such a weird thing, like the way that I view that now, because it's not, I wouldn't, I feel like leftovers is a very like derogatory term, but I wouldn't date any of my friends' ex-boyfriends now, like ever, because one, it didn't work out with them for a reason. Like normally it's because dudes weren't meeting a standard, not that,
mm-hmm.
so it's just like, why were we dating them? But I don't, I wouldn't do it now, but it's one, I'm married, but two, it's like
Right.
we live in a much wider variety, if that makes
Mm-hmm.
sense. Like I don't judge myself as harshly for that as a teenager,
Yeah.
because we literally had 10 people that were like the people that people dated, because there were some boys that didn't care about like having a girlfriend, and there were
Right.
some girls that didn't care about having a boyfriend, but then there were like those boy crazy and girl crazy kind of teenagers and they always were dating someone,
Mm-hmm.
well, at some point you don't really have a lot of options. Like, especially before we were able to like drive because we lived so far from everything.
I'm getting like secondhand embarrassment from my younger self, like thinking about things that we did. Like there were two dudes specifically that we used to go ride around with a lot. Well, I'm kind of seeing that happened a lot. Um, like the way that we just I don't know. We had like no standards.
Yeah, I think some of it was just like boredom. Um, I mean, genuinely, because like you said, it wasn't always like an attraction thing. It was literally like they're older than us. They can pay for unlimited gas and we can go ride around in their trucks and go like mudding, and that's what we can go do for the day. Like it was just something to do. Um
It's just kind of weird looking back that like some of those dudes were interested in you because the age gap was kind of
oh
there.
yeah. For sure. That it there is like dozens of times that I like think about stuff like that and I'm like that is so weird and creepy, and then I'm like I toe the line of creepy because boys are more immature than girls. So there was no way, and I mean in all caps, no way that those guys were getting with girls their own age. And it's not like they were getting with us, but just talking about like our how naive we were, like it's no wonder they wanted to hang out with us because they were like, "Oh, if she thinks I'm hot, then we can hang out and maybe something will happen from this."
Yeah.
And so like I know like where where their thought process was, that they were thinking that things would be easier, and it wasn't, because at least not with us, like that's not what happened, but that's definitely where the thought process was like they're young and going to be obsessed with us, and so you know you don't have to work as hard kind of thing, whatever. I don't know, like it was just weird. Um, Honestly, somehow though, it's definitely a perspective thing as well because I can remember being a freshman and like when senior guys thought like I was attractive and wanted to date me or whatever, like I was flattered and thought it was just like the greatest thing. And then when we were seniors and the boys in our class were talking to freshmen, I was like, that's freaking weird. Like, why are you
Right.
talking to them? And it was just, I think once you're at that older age, you're like, again, perspective, but I was like, why aren't they trying to date girls their own age? Like, why are they trying to date these young girls? And then it was very evident because of some stuff that happened that girls that age are naive and
Yeah.
follow through with things a lot easier than girls who have some experience to be like, no, you're not going to take advantage of this situation. Like, I'm not going to
Which
just fall head over heels for you.
a lot of it does go back to like we had let's 120 kids on the high school level.
Yeah.
Like there were not very many
Oh, yeah.
people. And then it's
Yeah.
like then you have to, narrow it down to people you're attracted to. And so
Yeah.
like it gets smaller and smaller, which is why I rarely dated from Florine. Like I don't think I ever dated a guy in my grade at Florine. It was always younger or older. Not much younger. I just went like the grade younger. But yeah, like my first boyfriend was from Zawali, I think. God forgive me. And then I went to Hornbeck.
I don't know. That
I
was too
didn't
long ago.
I
I
didn't
I
date
know
a
who you're
lot
talking
of.
about from Hornbeck, but Zawali, I have no idea. I thought your first boyfriend was from Converse.
Oh, I forgot about him. Uh no, he wasn't my first. But yeah. Uh yeah, growing up in a place like that makes it weird. Like trying to date someone worth dating makes it difficult.
Yeah.
Um but yeah, like riding back roads all the time and drinking at that young of an age. Like what were we thinking?
We were thinking it's what everyone did, and it's like,
Okay.
no, but it's kind of like when we talked about relationship advice in one of the episodes, like briefly, and I was like, you don't know what good is until you have actual good, not like
Yeah.
subpar. So, like, we didn't know there was other things you could do or that you
Yeah.
didn't have to participate in those things. Like, that's literally what everyone did.
Yeah. Which, I mean, you can't, the older I get, the more I really realize that you can't judge people by what they did in the ages of 15 through 21.
Oh,
Like,
yeah.
again, your frontal lobe is not developed. You are
Yeah.
just, and then the episode we had to scrap, we talked about the decisions you have to make as soon as you turn 18, whenever you weren't allowed to make any other decisions before that. And it
Yeah.
just, you're gonna screw up. You're gonna make poor decisions. And honestly, I don't feel like we made very many poor decisions in the grand scheme of things.
No. Um, Not really.
Yeah.
I mean, we were talking about this at work not that long ago, but like my like you just said, we literally rode back roads with people. Like I would sneak out literally to go ride around with people. Like it wasn't anything crazy. Like and it
I
was
never
literally one of those weird teenage things where like none of us could sleep, so we went and rode around like super random and weird.
I never snuck out. The closest I got was us going to Alexandria that time and getting in a buttload of trouble with your mother. And she didn't even really care that we were going somewhere. She just cared that we went there. And we weren't honest about it. Like that was the whole thing.
Well, to be fair, one, you're older than me. So you sneaking out was not really a thing. And two, our moms were very different in parenting regards because you were an only child. So I don't feel like your mom had anything to base it off of, where my mom was like, if I wanted to go to a party, she literally needed their social security numbers. But if my older brother wanted to go to a party, she was like, hey, are you drinking? Because if you're drinking, then you have to stay the night. And that was literally it. And so my teenage self was like, no, like that's not fair. And that's not how this is going to be. So when she told me I couldn't do something, I would just sneak out. Even if it, because in my mind, it was harmless.
I still don't understand that. But we're not going to go down that road because
I am 27 and I still don't understand it. But again, we don't have to go down that road. Anyway.
you want to know one thing that you did in your youth that you wouldn't do now? Is smoke grape cigarettes. Kayla, what were you thinking? That was disgusting. Do you remember that?
Yes.
That's so gross.
Did you say we smoked them? Because I
No,
feel like you were like shining the light on me, and that was not a me alone thing.
I didn't. I smoked cigarettes. I didn't smoke grape cigarettes. That's gross. I might have tried it, but grape is disgusting.
Okay, well, saying
I was meaning,
I
I was highlighting the grape part. Like
well,
now
but
we're like,
saying that you tried them and I smoked them is literally like I didn't smoke them. I've never in my life bought a pack of grape cigarettes. Like,
so I remember you having them, and maybe that's what made me, like, they were yours.
They were
And
not mine because I didn't even know where they came from. That's what
I
I'm
thought they
telling
were
you.
yours.
No, they
How
were
did
not mine.
how did those just fall in your lap?
I can remember a girl who used to smoke quite often, and she hung out with some of my older brother's friends. And I'm pretty sure it was something that my brother had, but they were not mine. Like, I did
Okay,
not, they were not in my possession.
maybe you said Austin gave them to me, and I assumed that, like, because I can remember us being in his little Toyota
Hmm.
and them being in there. And I was like, what in the world? But something you said made me assume that they were yours and, like, you got them.
Oh,
And I was like, and then, back then I was like, okay, but looking back, I was always like, why grape? That's so odd. Like, that's what stuck to
because,
me.
oh,
So
well, full
weird.
disclosure, because they tasted like candy, not actual cigarettes. Like, people who
That's
smoked
fair.
actual cigarettes, I thought were nasty.
That's fair.
But then
Me,
everyone we knew went on that big, like
Black and
Camel
Mild.
Crush. No,
Oh yeah, that
the
was me.
Camel
That was me.
Crushes with like and they were like menthol, but you still crush the beads, so they're like extra menthol, and it's literally like super minty. Like, none of us were like smoking real cigarettes.
Yeah. May and Katie used to smoke Camel Crushes, but I didn't like menthol, so I would smoke it, and then after I got done, then I would pop the little thing because I just liked popping it.
That's so weird and random.
Oh my god.
Again, some easily influenced thing because everyone did it. But no,
Yes.
I can remember the only time in my life at that age that like I had a pack of cigarettes like that were my cigarettes. Somebody's brother bought them for me, literally had them, had not even opened them. And someone had called my mom and told her that they saw me outside of the gas station with cigarettes. And I came home and she talked to me about it. And I had them and was like, I literally haven't even opened them. And she was like, okay, if I find out that you bought cigarettes again, I will make you smoke the entire pack. So yeah, no,
Pinching is a good time,
I
darling.
can, I can promise you they were not mine because she was like, I will make you smoke all of them. And I can remember thinking, who called my mother? Because I'm not part of this little teeny tiny small town.
Right.
So who called my mom with nothing better to do?
I even like the times that I've got so mad at you, I would never do that. Like it had to be a whole adult because I never
Mm-hmm.
would have. But I mean, but I'm saying that because your mom talked to your friends. Like we all had the relationship with her.
Yeah.
Like if something happened, she was there and she could help us. Like it was that kind of relationship, not like her talking to your friends in a creepy way. But yeah, I never would
Yeah.
do that. And I guess it's because I always knew that all of the problems we had, most of them were petty and we
Yeah.
could come back from it. But if I broke your trust in that manner, I don't know that we could come back from it. Like that's a line I
Yeah.
wasn't gonna cross.
Um, I don't really know. I don't know who it was. I think it was someone because we were outside of Texaco. Um,
The Texaco.
so I'm pretty sure like someone's just either saw us or I don't know. I don't know how they found out because literally, like I said, it's not like I got them and started smoking a cigarette. Like I literally had them, didn't even smoke any, and my mom was like, "If I find out you're buying cigarettes again, I'll make you smoke the whole pack." And I was like, "Okay." So
I just, I don't know, man. I wish I would have respected myself more in my youth, which I guess that's kind of a learned thing. Like,
yeah,
how they say, like, respect is earned? I had to earn my own respect. I had to grow up and realize that just because everyone else is drinking, I do not have to. Just because everyone else is doing goofy things, I don't have to. And
yeah.
you're not going to lose a friend, or you shouldn't lose a friend just because you say you don't want to do this or that.
So I would say that that's probably more about what it is as a teenager. Is it's like the
Peer pressure.
because I mean that's what we were taught, but I don't even know if it was peer pressure. Like I don't ever remember someone being like, "Come on, it's not a big deal." Like
Yeah.
kind of like what they teach you in Dare. It was more just like everyone is doing it, and if I don't, are they still going to want to hang out with me? Like it was like an acceptance thing more than like a pressure thing. Like
Like a
mentally, I
self
pressured
pressure.
myself.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
Like I did
Yeah.
it
Yeah.
to
Yeah.
myself.
Oh, I'm sorry. ADHD is getting to me. I'm acting goofy. Uh,
Where you just kind of like grow up and you're like, if they don't want to hang out with me because I don't want to do this or that, then so be it. I don't want to hang out with them.
yeah, for real. There's a plane going overhead and it is very loud.
Yeah, I can hear it.
It's super loud.
I assumed it was a train,
And now it was playing.
but it didn't really sound like a train, but it has lasted so long that I was like, well, maybe.
Yeah. It had to be really low. Um, I'm trying to blank on what I was about to say.
I don't know.
I wish I would have like taken more advantage of being young, like doing things, going and doing more than I did because like we said, well, a lot of that was where we grew up, but like I don't feel like we like on the weekends we sat around by a bonfire or went and rode around. Like we didn't have the luxury of going and doing how kids who grew up in bigger cities have the
Yeah.
luxuries of going and doing. Like people who went and hung out at the mall, never. I never did that
Yeah.
because we all weren't collectively going to drive 2 hours to hang out at the mall. We
Yeah.
hung out at the Texaco.
Yeah. We just kind of hung out. Things were low key. Um, I would say that thing like this is gonna sound harsher than it is, but like I took doing something illegal a lot more lightly when I was a teenager because I was like, it's juvie or a fine or like whatever. Like I didn't ever think it was gonna be anything like life altering bad kind of thing. Where like
Yeah,
as a grown up, I'm like, no, like I won't do anything illegal because I'm like, I'm deathly afraid. I don't want to go to jail for something stupid.
right.
I don't want to go to jail, period, but I don't want to go to jail for something stupid. Because,
Well,
like, I know that, like, one time, which the people I was with, because the small town we grew up in, I would have never gotten in trouble for this, but, like, we climbed on top of the school. Like, and I'm just, like, thinking about, like, as an adult, like, that's trespassing, and we could have gotten in
right.
trouble. Or, like, the time I went with Austin and his friends to climb a water tower. Like,
The
again,
one in Hornbeck.
trespassing. No. I know that was a thing people did, but that's not where we went.
I went to do that once and I made it up like 4 flights and it was shaking and it scared the crap out of me. And I'm not
Valid.
even like afraid of heights, but it scared the crazy crap out of me.
But yeah, just like stuff like that. Because I was like, oh, if we get caught, like they'll call our parents, whatever, not a big deal.
Yeah.
I wasn't afraid of the repercussions. Where like as an adult, like I said, I won't do anything even slightly illegal because I'm like, I don't want to go to jail.
I don't know, man. Sometimes I still fall into the mindset sometimes of like if somebody will do something with me, I will do just about anything. Which it's not really illegal stuff, but I don't know. If I don't have to do it alone, I will I will do it. Which I have never been in any kind of, knock on wood, illegal trouble, so that is bold for me to say.
Oh yeah, I haven't either.
Oh, I did get the cops called on me one time, but because I don't remember if you were there or not. We had a fire at your house whenever you still lived next door, and we went and toilet papered the house on the other side of me, and she called the
Yeah.
cops.
I did not go, but yes, I was there. Like, I was at
Mm.
my house.
Do you know what I was thinking of whenever I was thinking of like stuff we would never do? I am so appreciative that you and your mother and your brother had my back enough that whenever we had a fire at your house, a bonfire at your house, and I was gonna stay over, and y'all broke out the Ouija board, and I was like, if y'all do that in the house, I am not staying here. And y'all loved me enough that you were like, okay, we'll go do it outside. Like, that was your house. And I was like, no, don't bring that evil in here. And so y'all went and did it outside on like the bed of a truck or something. I don't know. I never went out there because Ouija boards scare me. But y'all
Yeah.
always did that for me, and I was like, that was such a small kindness that they didn't have to do because that was their house, and I was telling them like, absolutely not, but you weren't. You didn't do it. You did love me.
I actually remember that because it was me and my mom who did it, and we were in the bed of someone's truck.
I thought that's what you said you did, but I remember sitting in your living room and I was like, mm-mm, not going out there. I will not be a part of it. I will not be a part of that evil. What if you unleashed a demon, Kayla?
We all gotta die from something.
Oh my god, there are much easier ways to go than a
Are
demon
there?
possession. A
Are
demon
they?
possession?
Have you looked around the
Yes.
world today? Have you?
Look,
Have you looked?
a quick, swift death would be. Stop making. What is much more appealing than a demonic possession?
I mean, you didn't say appealing. There, I don't want to burn to death or drown to death either, but those, you gotta go some way. Like, it doesn't invalidate what I said.
That's fair.
You said you wanted to live life on the edge.
I did not say that. Oh god.
Mm-mm.
I don't know. I guess I just keep coming back to like the not how do you say it? Naivety? Like
Naivete. Is that how you say it? I really feel like that's how you say it.
I thought it was like naivety. That doesn't sound right either. Um, but like the stuff that
All right, are you ready?
yes.
Naivety.
Naivety.
Now it's starting to not sound like a word because we've said it so many times. But whenever I think of stuff that I did in my youth that I wouldn't do now, is just that. I feel like I allowed myself to settle with friends. Like a lot of my close friends that I had were out of convenience.
Yeah.
And if they treated me poorly, then I was just like, whatever. And I probably treated them poorly as well. But, I mean, I treated you poorly before we were even close. I know that. And the only reason we hung out was because of convenience. Because you were next door. Like when you were really young.
Yeah. I mean, I knew what you meant. It's just funny.
Yeah. And then, like,
Um,
the same with dudes, like, settling. Just letting them treat me how it... Like, I am so glad that... How did we hang out with people who weren't the best and not get tangled up in bad things? Do you know what I mean? Like
yeah.
we never got tangled up with drugs. No one ever took advantage of us. Like, and we didn't. It's not like we were willingly doing stuff, and that's why they weren't taking advantage of us. I guess is what I mean.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
we just hung out with people, and nothing happened to us, even if they were still not the best people, or we were in
Yeah.
not the best places. Also, like, thinking back, like, to going riding around with people and then, like, parking and sitting in a bed of a truck with, like, a group of people. How do people not get left more? Because I feel like that would be terrifying. Like, oh, let's just walk over here, and then they just drove off and left us.
Um, I don't know. I feel like we were pretty, this is going to sound bold to say, but geographically sound, like enough to where we could have found ourselves to a major highway and found our way home.
For the
But
most part, yeah.
so I mean, yeah, it would have sucked, but like,
Well, a lot of the times, I guess we were hanging out on like someone's lease or
hmm
someone's property, and a lot of
yeah,
those is like one road in, one road out. So if we're at the road, just follow the road, I guess.
yeah. I think it's worth noting that like they might not have been like boyfriend material or best friends for life, but like we didn't hang out with like genuinely crappy people. Like I think that's
No,
why bad things
no.
didn't happen to us. Like where we grew up, it was just
I think I'm just like picking out a select few who are always in the groups who they weren't doing things then, but like after we got a little older, they kind of got into more trouble. Like they kind of
oh yeah.
went, you know what I mean? And I'm just glad that that didn't happen to us.
Yeah. I mean I think that's about like some of it's your upbringing and like how much your parents kind of like molded you to make better decisions, and then some of it is like personal choice to make better decisions for your life and what you want, because being a grown
Well,
up is making choices to take care of yourself. So
a lot of it for me was I saw what those things could do, and I didn't want that to be me.
yeah, yeah.
Good Lord. I just look back and I get so embarrassed for things that I did. Or like people I was around, or dudes I dated, or people I was friends with. Like, I'm just like, man, what was I thinking?
Sometimes I can't believe some of the like circumstances or the things that I did, but I'm grateful for it because like it helped me to know better and to do better. Where I feel like if you don't make those mistakes as a teenager, that's where you have those people that like go to college and like go wild
Yeah.
and
Hmm.
potentially end up with the wrong people or potentially get in trouble, and it's more severe at 18, 19 rather than like 15, 16.
Yeah, because whenever I was
So
thinking about that, whenever you're talking about us not like getting in trouble legally, because I
yeah.
feel like unless it's serious, because a lot of it's just underage smoking, underage drinking, and us drinking. How often did you get legitimate drunk? Because I know it was not very many times for myself. Like,
Oh yeah.
it was always stuff that it was just teenagers being stupid and not thinking of the consequences that it could be.
And I know for me, I would say 90, maybe even 95% of the time that I was drinking, I was at my house because my
Yeah.
mom was like a firm believer in you're going to do this because it's what teenagers do. I would much rather you do it from the safety of our home where I know where you're at. You're
Yeah.
not driving somewhere, you're not in a car with someone who's been drinking, like you're not doing any of those other things. Um,
I just remembered something that I haven't thought about in years whenever you were talking about us doing it at your house. I don't remember if you were there. I don't remember if this was one of the times that me and your brother were trying to date, but which is always so awkward. But it was me, him, and then two of his best buddies, and they were on their dipping phase, and they like dared me to do it or said I wouldn't do it or something. And so we went and sat on your back porch steps, and I put a dip in my mouth. And I was like, this will be fine. And I remember I was sitting on like the top step, and your brother was sitting. Were you there? I don't think you were
yes.
there. You were
Yes, I
there?
was. Yes.
I don't remember much of anything because I was like, I remember being like, ooh, and my head just like fell on your brother's back because I was like, I thought this was gonna go a whole like I was comparing this to the wrong things because that was terrible. Like my brain felt like it was floating. I feel like I was gonna puke. Like that was one of the worst decisions I have ever made in my life. And I wish I remember what made me, or if I was just like, I've never done this before. Let's just say I have. I don't know. I would never do that now. I do not care if I have or
I
haven't
thought
done
you
it.
did throw up.
I might have. I don't remember a lot from that. Whenever I say two of your brother's friends, it's because I don't remember who those friends are. I remember your brother because I remember your brother because I was like leaning on him and
Yeah.
there was people floating in by the cars. But like I don't remember who was there and who wasn't. Like it made me so sick. And I was like, of all the things to bring me down. Again, I say that like I did all the things. I didn't do anything. But I'm grateful for that. I'm glad I didn't do too many stupid things.
Yeah.
I just had no self-respect.
And there's times that I'm like, I did some wild stuff. And then there's times when I'm like,
No,
I
you
really
didn't.
didn't. Because, well, like, even as like, I I don't know, like, there's not, I still feel like I made good decisions. I'll be so bold as to say that because I can remember nights when, like, Austin and his friends would literally have a fire out back and be throwing stuff into it to make it explode.
Yeah.
And like we had school the next day, and I was like, I'm going to bed. And like I would go to bed, like, because our mom worked nights. So, like, no one was making me go to bed, but like I would
Yeah.
go to bed and do the right thing and like be responsible. Like,
There will always be a core memory. Um, that one time when it was just like me and you and your brother and one other person. And that was like one of the times we actually did. I don't remember if you did, but that was like one of the only times that I got like wasty pants drunk. And I went inside to pee, and your brother was like, "Do you need Kayla to help you?" Do you remember that?
yes.
Like I couldn't pull up my pants.
That's just like one of those
Oh
goofy
God.
things.
It's funny to
Mm.
look back on it. And we were all like, how funny would it be if we wore the same clothes to school tomorrow as we did yesterday? Like that was just we were so stupid.
It's the things you think that are cool when you're a teenager. Like, I really think it's like that perspective of like, I'm cool and I'm grown up when no, you're not. You're freaking 16. Like,
Well, I think some of that because we were seniors, I believe. Yeah. Well, we had to been because you and I were close, and that was my senior year. So it was. I feel like in my mind, it was like I want it to be known that I am 18 and I went out and did stupid stuff last night, and none of you fools could stop me because I was here yesterday and I'm here today, and I did all my stuff that I was supposed to do, and so you can't. Even though you knew I was up to no good last night, there's nothing you can do about it because you don't know what it was and there's no proof of it. So I can't get in trouble legally, and that's as far as it goes with you. Like you're going, I did stuff, but that's it. It's so stupid now to think of.
I think it's
Because
just
now
like that.
that's like legitimately the walk of shame. Like that's now you'd be like, I've got to go home and change clothes because they're gonna know I was out all night last night doing unmentionable things.
Yeah. I just think
I don't know.
it's that teenage defiance kind of thing. And I think
Yeah,
everyone has that.
yeah.
Mm.
But I'm glad that even though you and I weren't close, like best friends close, until I was older, we still were in each other's lives before that. Like
Oh yeah.
so much. And that might have been why I didn't want to be your friend before that or like played into it because you were like they were trying to make us be friends. And that's
Yeah.
not like you can't do that. unless it's like
Yeah.
toddlers. But
Well, I think there was a certain extent of like making it, and then they also just kind of thought that it would happen. They were like, why wouldn't they be friends and get along? And like you've said before, like when we first met, like you were too cool for me because of our age difference. So, which I mean, looking back, like makes sense. Like you were 13 and I was 10. So you were like, no, I'm a teenager and she is a baby.
I
So,
mean, it didn't help that I had like just turned 13. Like I thought I was an adult. Like
yeah.
I was at like a stage where I was like, oh, I'm 13 now.
Yeah.
I'm basically like, when do I file my taxes? Like I thought I was like, set in the world, and you were some 10-year-old.
Yeah.
But we had a lot of fun.
We did. We had good times.
We did. We survived.
We thrived. Um, I feel like we've been talking about like nothing or the same thing the whole time.
Well,
Um,
I feel like I was thinking about that too, but I feel weird when we do episodes like this, but then I also kind of feel weird when we have episodes that are super structured. So I was trying to kind of keep it at like a mix of both.
yeah.
So that way, if we
Um,
ever have a day to where we don't want to be super structured, we don't have to be.
yeah.
Because at the same time, like you said before, we're talking about anything and nothing. I mean, maybe somebody will listen to this who's from smack down in a large city and they're like, this is literally what those bumpkins do. We were right.
Probably. Um, Something I know that I did as a teenager that I do not do in my adult life and would not do is all the drama.
Oh, God,
I
yes.
have zero tolerance for it. People that, even like if I'm friends with people that have a lot of drama, I'm like, no, 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 no. Stay far away from me. Like, one, because that's like the biggest red flag as a mature person. I'm like, you
Hmm.
should not have this much drama in your life, nor should you want to tell everyone about the drama in your life. So something leads me to believe you create at least 70% of this drama for yourself, which is not the kind of people that I want to hang out with. So,
I I like to hear other people's drama that I have no skin in any of their games, because I feel like it tells a lot about that person whenever they come to me and they're like, I have drama with this person and this person and this person and this is happening with this person. And I'm like, do you realize that you are the common denominator? Like, normal people don't have drama with multiple people as adults. It's probably you.
um,
Or at least who you surround yourself with. I always go back to, you are in what you allow yourself to be in. You're treated
oh
how you
yeah,
allow people to treat you. So,
yeah,
like, if you don't want all this drama, clean house and don't be around all those people, because they're obviously not any good for you. They're not
yeah,
good for your mental health.
yeah. Um, my most recent experience with a person with a lot of drama in their life, though, was like we were supposed to be friends. And so then I was, like you said, getting all the drama, like being told it or whatever. And then, like, later down the line, when we weren't friends anymore, it was very evident how, like, two faced and, like, a compulsive liar this person was. And so, like, that is my only thought process is like people either create it and they're pot stirrers and they're going to cause drama for my life and things like so like I don't want anything to do with that now.
Yeah.
Where like
Well,
as a teenager I can remember like that was exciting and a whole thing and I didn't mind it and like now I'm like my inner peace is far too important. Like please get away from
we
me
were
if that's how you feel
bored.
the need to live.
We were
Even
bored
now.
then. Like, we didn't have
Yeah.
anything to do then. So we
Even,
created problems.
yeah, but like even now, if I was bored out of my mind, I would not be like, I really wish I just had something to stir up. Like that, it just, the perspective has changed so much because I'm like, my inner peace, I do not have the energy to deal with that. But
Well, we're also
anywho,
smarter now. Like we know that creating drama from nothing can affect people long term.
yeah, I
I
would
mean,
say
you and I had
the
drama that we recovered from, and it genuinely shaped us. Like the few things that happened between us whenever we were in school still that we really had fights about, it shaped us as people, like, and taught us genuine life lessons to not do those things, to not treat our friends that way, to not act that way ourselves, to not allow other people to act that way towards us. Like, it genuinely taught us things that we abide by today. And we learned this is something we did in our youth. It's not okay to do it as an adult.
yeah. Um, I don't know what I was gonna say.
Sorry.
No, you're good. Also, there probably was more, but there's literally only one thing that I can think of that happened between us in high school.
The two things that I can think of is one um where we almost got in a fist fight in the gym.
Yes,
when I
that's the
when
only
I,
one I can think of.
oh,
And
it's so stupid now. It's so
the
embarrassing.
I would like to point out the fist fight side of that is definitely from your side, not mine. Because I wouldn't
Oh,
have fought
okay,
you.
yes. I should have no, yeah. I should have made that clear. I forget sometimes that we're not just genuinely talking to each other. That is the only time where I have genuinely almost beat the crap out of someone because I was so mad. Or not almost, I could have. Like, I was that mad. I could have fought.
Yeah.
And we didn't. So,
But
obviously.
that's the only thing that comes to my mind.
Um,
I'm sorry if the other thing is like significant in your brain and
if
it's
I,
not in mine.
no, if I,
You just can't you can't take claim to people like that. And as a grown up, I mean, unless I like dated someone for years and years, like you can't take claim like that to people because who am I to be like that's my ex-boyfriend? One, he's my ex-boyfriend. And two, like who are you to stop what could potentially be meant to be because you're having a petty moment? Like
yeah.
I think that's what I took away from growing up in situations like that. Like, no, I wouldn't date my friends' exes because most of the time, me and my friends are very similar. So if it didn't work out with you and him, it's probably not going to work out with me and him. And there's like a plethora of options now. So why would we be dating the same people? But
Yeah.
I just think that it's wild that like we had friends like that were like, I feel like she would have like thrown the kitchen sink out the window if you would have dated someone that she liked. And it's like you can't do that. Like we only have a handful of options.
But I have to say, and I don't know if this is one thing that will change whenever I get older, but like the person here you were just talking about, her mother, the stuff she allowed to go on in her house, it's like we even knew then that that was not okay.
Yeah.
Like, and maybe that's a dumb example of stuff that happened in my youth that I wouldn't do now because I didn't want to do it then. Like, I knew then that it shouldn't be going on.
Yeah. Um I wasn't direct friends with this girl, but I like we had a mutual friend. Um and things were pretty wild at her house too. Like her mom was one of those people that just like, well, I was direct friends with a girl too whose mom was just like anything goes. And I can remember at the time like being jealous of that a little and being like, I wish that things were like that at my house. And then I also like as I matured, I realized genuinely that like that was, this sounds very harsh, but I matured and realized that like no, my mom loved me and wanted to protect me
Yeah.
and not just let things, be what they may.
Well, like, so
Um,
your mom, it was different with your mom. Your mom knew that we were going to be somewhere drinking. And she was like, just don't leave. Don't get in a vehicle. But there was still boundaries. It wasn't like, hey, yeah, y'all can go sleep in whatever bed you want to sleep in with whomever you want to sleep with. Like, it wasn't like we
yeah,
weren't,
that was not a thing.
there was no drugs.
Yeah.
There, if she someone smoking, she was like, that's going to kill you. You shouldn't be doing that. That's disgusting. Go over there away from everybody else. They don't want to die of secondhand smoke. Like, she, it wasn't like we were doing whatever we wanted to there. And at some of those people's houses, their parents were just letting them do whatever they wanted. Whatever they
Whatever they
wanted.
wanted. Yeah. Yeah. Encouraging all sorts of behaviors and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
So,
Yes.
yeah. And I can remember like just thinking that was crazy. And then, like, as I got older, I was like, I think it
Still
says
crazy.
more that my mom, like, has boundaries in place and I do have some rules so
Yeah.
that bad things don't happen. Like,
Yeah.
yeah. Crazy. Mm.
But I'm glad we made it out, buddy. I'm glad we survived
Me too. Me
without,
too.
teenage pregnancy or a drug habit or, anything that would have followed us for the rest of our life.
Yeah. Crazy things like that.
And we came out of it on the other side with a friendship that's lasted all of these years.
It has. And it's been
How
nice.
beautiful. Maybe we should start a podcast and talk about such things.
You're getting too sappy. No, but it was good. There's like I said, there's obviously things we wouldn't do now, but I think it helped us for the most part to
Oh,
be
it
the
was a
people
lot of
we
fun
are.
then. Don't get me wrong. Just because I know what I did was wrong, we had a blast. We had so much fun. It's just it's like we don't have the rose-colored glasses on that we did
Yeah.
then. Like now I can see these things were illegal. These things were unsafe. We weren't always in the best situations. Like stuff could have happened and it didn't. And
Yeah.
I'm glad that it didn't, but it's like now it's like I look back and I just see all the things that could have gone wrong and I'm like, wow. I'm glad that
Yeah.
we're alive and in one piece.
Me too. Me too.
But we did it together, so that's fun.
Yeah, we have nice memories. And now we're grown and we make better decisions.
Oh, one more thing. You want to know what we did in our youth that I would never do now? Play around in cemeteries and haunted houses. No, absolutely not. It's not happening.
Yeah. A cemetery at nighttime is a big no for me. I can't say much on like haunted houses because I do still think that's kind of cool, but I probably wouldn't go at nighttime because I'd pee my pants.
I can remember the last time we did that together.
Ugh, I just got goosebumps. Okay. Um, well, let's wrap it up. And I dropped the ball yet again because I don't have a question. So do you?
Uh oh, yeah. Let's do. I have been drinking like too much Dutch Bros lately. So let's do a poll. Do you like Dutch Bros? Do you like, or do you prefer Dutch Bros? Do you prefer Starbucks? Do you prefer Dunkin'? Or do you
Okay.
prefer Seven Brew? Well, I'll throw that one in there because I've drank a lot of Seven Brew before I got into Dunkin'. I don't know if you've ever had Seven Brew, but if you haven't and you see one, you need to get it because it's delicious.
I have not. I think I saw someone with that on Snapchat the other day, but no, I haven't actually had it.
It's delicious. So
Good
yeah,
to
what do
know.
you prefer? Because they're all just kind of coffee at the end of the day. It's all the same thing.
I really, I think it would be a toss up between Dutch Bros and Starbucks. Now, if we're talking holiday drinks, it's Starbucks because that sugar cookie almond milk latte has me in a chokehold. Like, absolute chokehold. I love that stuff.
So Dutch Bros is the first place that I found an iced drink that I really like. Um, because I'm not huge on coffee.
Yeah.
Seven Brew has a good like house brew, like a black coffee. That's like the only one that I genuinely enjoy. That's just a black coffee.
Nice.
But most of the time in the winter, if I'm getting something warm, I want a hot chocolate, and Seven Brew has the best hot chocolate, the best. Because I'm a
I'll have to keep that
cold
in mind.
giant child. They have good teas as well, though. Seven Brew does.
More you know.
The more you know.
All right. So drop a comment. The poll will be up on our Instagram whenever you listen to this episode, or you can comment on some reels on Instagram and tell us. Um, Maybe we will send some gift cards to some people if
Gift
you comment
cards.
and tell us your favorite place.
Yeah, do it.
We can send you
That'll be
some gift
fun.
cards so you can get a drink, a little drinky drink from your favorite
Little
place.
drinkity drink. Drink, drink, drunk. Sorry.
But yeah, comment below. Let us know things you guys have done in your life that you would not do now. Or just like wild stories.
Yes.
Um, like, follow, share, all of the above. Give us 5-star reviews. And we will catch you guys next week. Okay. Love and miss you, bestie.
Love and miss you, bestie. Bye.
Bye.